Hey everyone, Chris Bentley here. I'm the host of the Social 333 podcast. Today, my guest, Arias WebsterBerry. WebsterBerry. Just want to get that correct. Arias, thanks for coming on the show. And tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, Chris, thanks for having me. I am an entrepreneur. I'm an author. I am a speaker. I am a digital marketer. That's my main shtick, as they say. So I have a digital marketing agency by the name of WebsterBerry Marketing, after my namesake. I have a technology company. It's kind of all-in-one deal for any and all things business. And I also help entrepreneurs get into this thing and win at it. So
that's awesome, because we were kind of chatting off the camera about like AI. And I know AI is like a really big subject right now. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about what you're seeing in like the marketing field with AI outside of like chatbots and stuff like that. I mean, everybody I know like probably will start out with me like, oh yeah, I got a chatbot on my website. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, okay, well, cool. That's really not AI, but you know, like talk to us more about like AI.
Yeah, I mean, it is AI, right? I mean, it's just a chatbot is something simple. Like the original ones were kind of binary, right? If they say yes, then send this message. If they say no, send this message.
Right.
They're a lot more sophisticated now. And with AI, it has allowed us to have contextual conversations. So one of the things that we're seeing and we're focused on in our agency is the ability to have omni-channel conversations. So you being able to speak with a customer that say sends in an email, and then AI being able to pull all information that they have for that particular contact if they're already in the CRM, analyze the conversation, and then respond in kind. And then more importantly, if that customer decides to call in, or if they decide to engage with your brand on a social media platform or a chatbot on your website, it can keep that entire conversation straight and realize that it's talking to the same person and reference all of the past conversations across multiple channels.
Yeah, with real estate, I haven't really seen that much outside of like chatbots. Outside of, MLS now has like AI where they'll try to like figure out if it's a bathroom or a bedroom. I really haven't seen a lot. And I know there's like a ton of stuff with AI. It just hasn't creeped into real estate yet. I expect it to at some point. I just haven't seen it yet. I'm
glad that you said that, because that means that's a market for me.
Yeah, like a whole another area.
Usually real estate's actually pretty good when it comes to like getting ahead of things, right? They have money. They're usually trying to get on the cutting edge and trying to generate some leads. So I'm surprised it hasn't made it there yet.
Yeah, it's just not very big yet. I think it's more on the marketing side. So like, talk to me about like marketing. Talk to me about, I've done a lot of marketing. Like I've done sales funnels. We talked a little bit about sales funnels. Like I've done that. I've done landing pages. I've done, websites. I've done it all. Like I've done every full gambit. I was not one of the first, but like I was one of the few people that would sit on Saturday and or Friday night and Saturday night, like creating campaigns on social media, on Facebook back before they had Instagram, and like creating sales campaigns or ads to go out, and then like A/B testing stuff, which I'm sure a lot of the audience doesn't know, but kind of getting into like the geeky stuff of it, and then seeing like who's clicking on it, like what's the demographics back when Facebook had that kind of stuff. And it's really kind of exploded into like a different area because there's different, obviously, platforms and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like as somebody that, I don't know, selling real estate, or they have some sort of sales that they're trying to do. It could be like roofing for hail damage or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Like what do you recommend for somebody doing that? And like, what's some of the biggest mistakes you're seeing with people just trying to promote their business or trying to do sales funnels or trying to capture leads?
I would say the biggest mistake a lot of people make when it comes to funnels is them not making them functional, right? So many times they understand the concept of a funnel, but they don't actually know why they're doing it. I always liken it to children. If you ever see a toddler with a play phone, they're like, hello, hello, right? And they're having whole conversations. They're mimicking their parents. A lot of entrepreneurs do the same thing. So they end up getting a funnel. They do all these different things. And they're like, all right, I put a form on the page. And then on the next page, I tell them thank you, or I got this video and all that kind of stuff. But behind it, there isn't really a lot of automation, right? They forgot to do some nurturing. They forgot to do to put that somewhere where you can actually follow up with them, right? All of the things that the funnel was designed to do with all of the various automated mechanisms, they're missing. So they're not getting the same results. And then they come to an agency like mine and they say, oh yeah, we did sales funnels. Those things don't work. That's a load of crap. I paid some guy $15,000 and blah, 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 right? And it's not that it doesn't work. It's just you don't understand the reasoning for using it. You don't know how to use the tool.
Right. Like I find a lot of people will click on the funnel or the sales funnel and go down the funnel. And then it'll be like somebody that's looking to purchase something in 6 months or a year. They just happen to see an ad. It caught their eye. Something in the ad was provoked them to like fill out their information. And then I get it. And I'm like, hey, Johnny, like you ready to buy a house? And he's like, no, like what did I click? And I'm finding that a lot with just other like industries as well, like plumbing or roofing or just somebody is just checking the box and they're like, oh yeah, like I got one of those. And you're like, well, like, are you making any money off of it? And it's like, they have no idea. Which kind of gets me into like, what kind of like automation setup, what kind of like, let's say that somebody is a plumber, right? Somebody's just like, hey, look, like I need more plumbing business. I know there's people out there that like have issues with their plumbing. Like, how do I set up like an ad and run it and stuff like that? Obviously, they would call a professional like yourself. But like outside of that, is there like any automation that they would get? Like, is there anything that they would get like that's just outside of just like a form being filled out? Like, talk a little bit about like that kind of stuff. Like, what can they do outside of just like, somebody just filling out a form?
I mean, the biggest thing is you need to provide some value. So you're speaking about plumbers. There are 10,000 plumbers in any major city that are vying for business, right? It's a competitive market. You need to figure out how to give something to your customer that's actually going to make them want to give their information, right? Start by trying to give value first in exchange for their contact information. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, right? They want to put a random form on their site, join my newsletter. Nobody wants to join a newsletter for a plumber. I'm just going to be honest, other than other plumbers.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you're only going to worry about it if something breaks.
Exactly. So you have to figure out how to create a page that is informative, a page that is educational, and you need to give them something in exchange for their contact information. So if in the case of a plumber, if they're calling you or they're looking on your page, they most likely have a problem right now. So what's something that can be an immediate win for them that will make them want to sign up right now, right? Maybe they don't book you for your services, but they want to get on a call with you, right? Maybe you could do a free virtual inspection, right? So you set up Google Meet or Zoom calls where they get on their phone and they show you whatever their issue is, and you kind of diagnose it from afar, allowing you to get leads because they get a diagnosis, and it saves you the pain of actually having to go all the way out there just to figure out that it's a leaky faucet, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that gets me to like the next thing, which is going to be brand and like brand awareness. And then obviously, like, once you get brand awareness, you get monetizing it, obviously. Mm-hmm. But like, let's just stay on the same. So you got a plumber, and they're doing a lot of ads and they're getting calls, or they're doing, different virtual calls, whatever. Talk about like, or it doesn't even need to be a plumber. I'm just saying, using that as an example. Like, talk about like some brand, some branding, some authority in the space. Like, talk a little bit about like what if I was coming in and I said, hey, look, like I got X amount of dollars to spend. I want to be the authority in Highland Park, which is one of the most expensive areas, right? Park cities. Like get me to the top, right? So like, what would you kind of like recommend for somebody like that?
Yeah. We actually, it's a interesting thing that you ask about branding, because that's something that we are very good at. One of the things that I think often gets missed about branding is that you need to focus on owning a lane, right? You don't want to fade into the background. You don't want to be the guy who sounds, looks, walks, talks just like every other person in your industry. So one of the things you want to do is try to niche down, right? So instead of saying I'm a plumber, I am the leaky faucet guy, right? I specifically work on leaky faucets. If you have a water main burst, I'm not your guy. But if your faucet is leaking and keeping you up at night, I'm your guy, right? So being known for that thing allows you to own the space. It allows you to rank above all of your competitors, all the other, general plumbers, right? So when someone has that specific issue, well, they're looking for you. When they search for, hey, how do I fix my leaky faucet? And they happen to be in a certain area, Highland Park, well, you're the top that comes up because you're known for that thing. Now, when it comes to building authority, well, first off, when you own that lane, well, you become known for it, right? You are the authority in that space. You may not be the one for when the house gets flooded, but you know every single thing there is to know about a leaky faucet. And that makes you the authority on that subject. And what you do is you go deep on that, right? You create content around those things in order to demonstrate your expertise. You look to get third-party validation. So like if you're here in Dallas, you wanted to have someone write an article about the leaky faucet guy, right? Because now D Magazine is certifying that you know your stuff. Or if you go on US Business News or, this, that, and the other thing, all these third-party validations now equal you being the expert. It bolsters your brand and it makes you the authority.
I agree. I did a bunch of PR stuff. We were talking about that earlier, and it's definitely helped me out. I think the biggest thing, especially for realtors, is like they've seen so many different things. Let's say like, back in the day it was like mailers, right? And then people are like, oh yeah, mailers, right? And like everybody that I know, it works because like my mother would get mailers and she'd be like, oh, like they sold Susie's house down the street, and it would just start a conversation. And then they'd be like, one day she would be like, oh, like I want to sell my house. Maybe I'll use, Johnny that's been sending me flyers. But what I've noticed is that most people just cannot like just commit to one marketing strategy. Like it'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to do mailers. And then I did mailers for like 3 months and that was garbage because everybody threw it in the garbage. And then now today I'm going to do like Facebook marketing. I'm going to learn everything about Facebook marketing and I'm going to like just go at it. And then they do Facebook marketing for 4 months. And then they're like, well, that was cool. I got like 2 leads of people that may be buying land, right? And in the next 10 years, right? And then it's just like, okay, cool. Now I'm going to do YouTube, like now I'm going to do this. And it's just like, one, they don't really commit to it. And 2, like they really don't know like what to do. So like, what do you recommend to somebody like that? Where it's just like, hey, look, like, there's so many different things out there. Paul may be doing mailers and he's been doing mailers for the last 30 years and it works fantastic for him. And he just markets, a certain area or a certain demographic or whatever, or a certain type of house. And then it's like, well, then, Susie does this or whatever. Like, what do you recommend as like a brand person? Like for somebody just kind of starting out, they want to get some recognition, they want to get some money, they want to get some leads, they want to get people through the door, whatever it is, like don't matter. Like, what do you really recommend for something like that?
I'm glad you brought that up, and I want to answer that in 2 parts, right? The first part is, everybody asks, what are you supposed to do with marketing? Should I start a blog? Should I do a podcast? Should I be on YouTube? Should I do direct mail, email, all these different things? And then you have other people who say, yeah, I tried that. It didn't work, right? Or I did ads and I wasted a whole lot of money, or I spent a whole bunch of time recording YouTube videos and I never saw anything from it, right? I always say that all of that stuff works and none of that stuff works. And what I mean is you brought up the example of someone trying mailers they've been doing it for the last 30 years and it works really well for them. Well, the reason it works is because they stuck to it. If you are constantly changing your strategy every month, every couple months, and you're focusing on a new thing, or you give it 2 or 3 months and then you completely pivot and you put money into something else, you put your focus on something else, you're not really giving it enough time to work, right? Typically, you need to give something at least 3 to 6 months. You need to commit to that so that you can figure out how it works. Because you can't tell me that you getting in front of people on a regular basis and putting stuff out there, as long as it's quality, is not going to bring something back. But if you do it for a short period of time, well, you're never going to see the fruits of your labor. So I think all of those things work. But I think the biggest thing you need to do is to pick a horse and ride it off into the sunset, right? And as you figure out how to get that thing to convert, right, whether it's YouTube or if it's mailers or email marketing or ads, then you need to focus on how you optimize that and truly get the most out of it. And then the second part of it is if you're just starting and you're looking to generate leads and you want to be able to get some ROI quick, the absolute hands down best way to do that is through ads, right? Social media ads is the only thing that I know that can scale quickly, that it is a pure cut pay to play, right? I'm going to spend this much money. I'm going to get in front of this many people, get this many clicks, get so many leads and so many sales, as opposed to some of the other methods that are a little bit more expensive and take a little more time to ramp up.
Speaking of ads and like ads campaigns, and I know like you're probably not going to give out your secret sauce, but like what really is like some of or like one of them that you could share with the audience of like a high performing ad or like something that's converting really well? Like, kind of give me an example. Like I kind of understood like the plumber thing because I have that background, but for like somebody that's like brand new, give me something new, like something that's like for a high converting ad. Just give me not the secret sauce, but like something good.
I would probably say, the biggest thing is not going straight for marriage, right? I think a lot of brands are afraid of marketing. They commit minimum resources. You get one of two people. They're like, I'm gonna throw all the money at it and let's just, bull in the china shop, right? Mm-hmm. Just throw as much as I can and, hopefully something sticks. But the average entrepreneur, they're afraid, right? They don't believe in marketing. They see it as some kind of weird wizardry, right? This marketing magic, this box that they can't really figure out. And it's really not that. It is, instead of you going straight for, hey, I just met you, let's get married, maybe you ask them for their number and, have a couple conversations in order to see if you're compatible. Maybe go on a date or two, right? And that's where in advertising, most people are going straight for sale, right? If I had a nickel for every prospect that I talk to and they're like, yeah, we want to get some sales. And I'm like, how many sales? Oh, we want to get like, I don't know, maybe $2 million in the next 15 days. And I'm like, okay, well, how many, have you run ads before? No. How many leads did you get last month? Oh, 4. So you want to go from 4 leads and never doing ads to $2 million in the next 15 days?
A truckload.
Right. Sure, man. Hold your horses. So I think you need to focus on what we talked about earlier, right? Focus on trying to generate attention, right? Getting people to pay attention, know that you exist, know what you offer, and then try to offer them something that for free, right? A lead magnet, something that you can give in exchange for their contact information. And then from there, develop and nurture that relationship, right? Instead of you just saying, hey, here's my product, I'm amazing, buy it. Why don't you say, hey, let me give you this ebook or this spreadsheet or this tool or this gadget for free. And then why don't I spend the next, 2, 3, 4 weeks educating you about what I can do for you, and then try to get you on a call in order to take this relationship further.
Yeah, I see that also with like a lot of like the coaching and mentor space. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do that where they'll give something away for free, hope somebody reads it, and then, does a follow or does a video about something and then educates and then turns around and sells. And then in terms of, I just talked about coaching and mentorship. Like, I think that's like a really big space right now. It's been a big space for a while. Tell me, like, what are you seeing in terms of like the trend that you kind of see like in your crystal ball for the next 5 years? Like, do you see something kind of like coming out? Do you see something fresh? Do you see some like innovation, or do you see like things just getting better and like better responses and better marketing? Like, tell me a little bit of like what you see right now and like going into the future
in the coaching space, or in just marketing in general?
No, just marketing in general.
I think, and it's a little doom and gloom, but I personally believe in the next 3 to 5 years, if you haven't committed to establishing a brand, if you haven't committed to figuring out this thing called marketing, I believe that most people are going to be on a downhill slope or out of business completely. I foresee that the next 5 years is going to be all brands or nothing. If you're an obscure freelancer or gigster in a space, I think that you are going to be replaced. I don't think that there's going to be a lot of space for individual operators that don't really have a name or a brand behind them. I don't believe that you're going to have the ability to kind of one-off manual process it, because there are an enormous amount of people that are coming up behind you that have funnels, they have ad teams, they have PR teams, that have a whole content team, that are on podcasts, that are on magazines, and they're coming like a massive wave. And you're either going to grab a surfboard and ride it, or you're going to get crushed by it while you're looking at it on the beach. So yeah, I think the biggest thing, we're already seeing it, influencers and all of these different faces and brands in various industries are starting to really take the lead. It used to be kind of a novel thing, right? You had these massive corporations that owned most spaces, and you had these little guys that were on various social media platforms claiming that they were, the next coming. But now that's turning, right? A lot of these large corporations are being supplanted by seemingly small teams that are extremely, extremely effective, but more importantly, they are well known, right? They have a massive brand, they have built a following, and they have developed mechanisms that actually get people results and build value. And I believe if you are a small company, if you are just getting into an industry, or maybe you've been in the industry for a while and you're starting to see your sales wane, that's because you have not taken the time to build a brand. You haven't figured out how to automate your processes. And if you don't, you will not be in business long.
Yeah, I completely agree, because there's some industries, I'm not really going to name them, but some industries and some people are kind of stuck with like putting up a picture of them and their dog or them and their family and expect them to get business by being like, oh, well, like I have a golden retriever and he has a golden retriever. Like, we're golden retriever friends. And like that may have worked, I don't know, before Instagram or maybe the beginning of Instagram, where like I would look you up and be like, oh, look, like he's in sales and I'm in sales, and like I build funnels, he builds funnels, and like maybe I'll give him a call, like we can hang out and talk about funnels, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. But now it's like, well, like I'll Google him and see what he's got. And then I see like where he's been in terms of like magazines, speaking, whatever it is. Like I'll see his YouTube channel, like what is he talking about? And people do that because I saw luxury homes. So like people do that. They'll be like, oh, why am I going to give this kid, which I'm really not a kid anymore, but like why should I give him like this $5.5 million home in Highland Park when like I Google his name and it just shows like he likes dogs. And like versus like I Google, my name, right? And it's like you see all the stuff that I've been in. It's like, oh well, obviously I'm going to go with him because he's going to get me more people, So looking at the house, and like that's where I see it right now is like exactly what you're talking about. Whereas like people that are producing social media on a regular basis and putting in the time and effort and spending the money on PR is really like pushing them to more of the top of the heap. More than, a cool picture with them and surfing and like.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's like when they Google you in your industry, all right, you're in real estate. Awesome. When they Google, there's going to be 20,000 other people that come up, right?
Right.
They come up in it's like there's one line with your name on it. And then there's the next guy, and that guy's on there 50 times. He's doing ads, and he's got amazing SEO. So he's popping up here, and you click on his site, and it moves around, and it spins, and he's talking to you. And then you get on Instagram, and he's following you with more ads. And it's just like, I forgot I even looked you up.
Right.
Right. Because that other guy has a brand, and he's got his shit together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to build your brand. You have to take this thing seriously. This idea of does it work? I don't know. That time is gone, right? You're either going to put on your big boy pants and, run full speed ahead, man, or you're going to get lost.
Yeah, the days of like checking the box and being like, oh, I have a Facebook page, or like, hey, I have an Instagram page, and like it has a picture of me and my wife, and like it's like, okay, well, cool, like.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
cool.
does my 5-year-old, right? My 10-year-old has an Instagram and a Facebook page. Who cares, man?
Yeah, it's not the same anymore.
No, you have to be on your game, and it's not enough to just check the box anymore.
Yeah, you got to create, and you got to have PR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. Like, how does somebody find you if they want to do some business with you or look you up? Like, how does somebody find you?
Yeah, you can Google me. You can Google Arias WebsterBerry. I'm sure it's going to be on the screen somewhere. My agency, if you're looking for marketing, if you're trying to generate leads, if you are trying to establish a brand or establish your authority in your industry, you can go to WebsterBerry.com, WEBSTER, WebsterBerry.com. Our social media is, popping, as they say. I'm not hard to find.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it. And we're out of here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely.